Oh yeah, he's back. The crack of the bat, the ping of the crossbar, and the roar of the crowd. We cover everything you want to talk about. It's the Rod Pedersen Show.
Good morning, Canada. Away we go. Whee! Right into the deep end. Let's go. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
Too long.
Tuesday, April the 14th. We're at it here with the Rod Pedersen Show, Canada's morning sports talk show. It's episode 212. I'm Rod. He's Darren. Producer Clark's in the back of the bunker. Jordan's on the other side of this wall. We're observing social distancing, and we're ready to go with sports talk. Big day today on the program. A lot of big-name guests. The sports doctor, Dave Pedersen, joining us from Winnipeg. We don't get enough Winnipeg sports talk, we're told, so the sports talk will handle that for us. I know he's got a lot of thoughts on the world of sports, WrestleMania 36, and so forth. TSN's NHL insider Darren Dreger is going to be with us. Been pretty quiet in the old NHL.
It has.
For several days. We'll see if Dregs has some news on that. Nick Sakewicz, he's the commissioner of the National Lacrosse League, will be with us, and I'm very excited to have Nick with us today. We'll be talking about that later on. And Ryan Schweitzer of the Swift Current Broncos is going to join us to talk about Colby Cave, the most tragic of news that we all know about. The Battleford's kid, the former Swift Current Bronco, Edmonton Oiler, passing away at age 25 on Saturday. So as if the world didn't suck enough, that was the biggest kick to the berries for everybody, the hockey world, this province, you name it. So those are the guests on the program today. Let's go with the quick six show topics. Darren, what do you say?
Yeah. Hit me.
A recap of the past 4 days, if you will. I'll tell you what, we did do a recovery hour show last night. It's on substance abuse and mental health. We did it here out of this studio last night. I was happy to get out of the house because after 4 days off, we haven't been on the air since Thursday. I didn't really care to drag my ass back in here today.
I know.
It's what my mom used to say. The more you lay around, the more you want to lay around. You know what I mean?
She's right.
And it was so bloody cold all weekend that to go out and have a walk, that wasn't that palatable either.
No, I wasn't too excited to do that. And, you know, what happened to the warm weather. But, yeah, I'm with you on that. Once you get your feet up, it feels pretty good to keep your feet up.
Yeah.
And you don't want to come back in, but glad to be back.
Yeah. Are we having an audio issue, Clark? He says it's fine. I see people are writing in. Sometimes I think it's their issue, not ours, but it causes all kinds of panic here in the bunker, right? When people say they can't hear the show or something. A lot of times it's a little setting on their device.
Right. Yeah, we want it to be great, right? We want everybody to have a good experience.
Well, okay, now people writing in, is it just me or is the audio off? I don't know. Clark's on it. I can only do so much sitting here on this side of the chair. Fair? And by the way, the audio's fine at rodpedersen.com/listen live. I know that for a fact. So I will say this. I think it was Saturday night I put out that what should I buy, a stationary bike or a treadmill?
Yep.
Hundreds of responses on Facebook and Twitter. And what it turned out to be was the biggest flea market of all time. People trying to sell me their crap that's sitting in the corner of their garage. You know what I mean?
I saw the Nordic track from the 90s.
All kinds of people just saying, here, buy this, buy that, I'll give you a deal. I actually had some companies that sell exercise equipment get a hold of me. But here's the problem. In our house, of which they're all watching right now, I know, because they're all home, nobody could agree on the exercise piece that we wanted. All things being equal, I would have wanted an elliptical. Do you see the size of those things?
They're big. Where do you put it? Where do you put it?
I want to put it in the living room, right in front of the television.
Yeah.
Not happening. So I thought had settled on a stationary bike, and that's not happening. So anyways, moving on. Point 2, demise of the XFL. We had one of our viewers, Robin in Prince Albert, wrote in and said, well, you got a lot to talk about there. And I'm like, really? I don't feel like there's a lot to talk about there. The XFL on Friday announced that it's ceasing operations. And then yesterday we learned that they're declaring bankruptcy, filing for bankruptcy. And Darren, you know business. This is a business. I'm no business expert, but I've owned businesses somewhat successfully. I get the dollars and cents aspect of it. The part that bothers me the most about the demise of the XFL is the people that are wagging their fingers saying, see, told you it wouldn't last. And a lot of them are CFL fans. And you better be careful, because if there was no pandemic, the XFL, I believe, would roll. They'd be able to pay their bills. They wouldn't be filing for bankruptcy. So I don't think CFL fans, given the current situation of the pandemic and the economic crisis, should be waving their fingers at anybody.
Bankruptcy is interesting, and I'm not as experienced in business yet. But what I understand, I mean, bankruptcy is not a State of the Union address to tell you, where this business is at. It's a business tool. That's the way I understand bankruptcy. It's a business tool. And the first, thought comes back to when Donald Trump was in business. Everybody said, well, he's filed for bankruptcy X number of times. It's a tool. It's not like he's out of money. It's a business tool.
Oh, I know.
Right? I mean, we go into the COVID-19, you got to cancel the season, and bankruptcy is a business tool. They knew they were going to lose a lot of money, hundreds of millions of dollars on this season. What did they say, $350 million or whatever they were prepared to lose to get this league up and running, or Vince McMahon was prepared to spend. I mean, bankruptcy is a tool to help them alleviate some of that stress and get their creditors paid if there are creditors that need to be paid, or to make sure they can get out of this. But yeah, I fully believe that if it wasn't for the pandemic, they'd still be playing football. There was no whispers of them getting ready to file for bankruptcy or fold. This has nothing to do with that. I fully expect that, and I believe that if they can figure out the finances of it and make sure it's not going to be a complete, loss, they'll come back next year. I think they're going to try and find a way to come back.
Well, that leads to our poll for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center that the boys came up with, because I was late getting in here today. You guys came up with this, and I like it. Will the XFL ever return to play? Yes, no, or not sure. A lot of votes so far since you guys posted it to Twitter. 71% on Twitter saying no. You can see the Facebook better in front of you. What do they say? 67% say no.
Yeah.
So the leading is no, that it will not return. So you can vote on that over the next 24 hours. Hey, by the way, I am seeing from our viewers on the Facebook wall that the video does not match the audio. If I may, just close your eyes and listen, and you'll be fine. Moving on to point 3. We're no further ahead. I put this in my column this morning. I had to write the Monday Morning Goalie column, even though it's a Tuesday. Don't at me, but we're a month into this, and the disease experts and the health experts, who, while I do believe they know what they're talking about, haven't been able to tell us when this is going to end. And I don't think they have got a huge regard for the economy. As I wrote in the column, they're certainly not capitalists. This 18 to 24 month thing. Last night on the phone, somebody who I trust says, they're not going to be back playing pro sports until September of 2021. I'm like, that can't happen. They will have burned the planet down by then. The people that are not being paid, let alone sports fans. Or am I just missing something? Because there's a lot of business leaders, guys that I know, well-heeled financial people that are just saying, hey, who's going to blink? Who's going to make the first move here? Because this can't go on. It's been a month, and we're no further ahead.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And sports has to find a way. The bubble cities thing will work. To me, it's a matter of you're asking these players to not have a life at all outside of hockey. No personal life. You're quarantined with the players, all that, because you can't let that disease get in any way. You got to control the environment. So that's a big obstacle. In terms of fans coming there, that might not happen for a while. And I read the same thing, and it was talking about, that concerts, festivals, sporting events will be the last things to actually get going again, because they're big, gatherings for multiple people, tens of thousands of people. So that might be pushed off, and that's what they were predicting. Yeah, the fall of 2021. Sports can't wait that long. Maybe sports with fans.
Nothing can wait that long.
Nothing can wait that long. And then, I like that in this province, we're getting close. Premier Scott Moe coming out saying next week he's going to roll out his plan to reopen Saskatchewan a little bit. And you know what? We're doing really well. The social distancing, the isolation, it's working, right? Our numbers are dropping. We're flattening the curve a little bit. We haven't had a huge number of deaths. It's really a testament to the people in this province that have done really well, which tells me if you can eliminate it, and I'm no disease expert, if you can eliminate it in this province, we could reopen the province, but you'd have to close the provincial.
Yeah, but for how long?
But you'd have to close the provincial borders, because we're okay. Let us operate, but you can't let anybody in the province. You can't let anybody out. Are they willing to do it?
The Mississippi of the North.
Yeah.
So, continuing our quick 6 show topics here in the Rollout for Flooring Superstore. And again, they're telling me that the video doesn't match the audio and it looks like a Godzilla movie translated. I'll say it again. Just close your eyes. Darren and I both have nice voices. Close your eyes. Just listen.
Good chance to do the dishes or get some push-ups in.
Yeah, go do something. And 4 days not on the air. You know how much changes within Facebook within 4 days in terms of their coding and everything? Clark is like sweating like a hooker in church right now, just trying to figure out the audio and the video. You should see it. Can we get a photo of it, Jordan? Let's do that. There we go. He's sweating. He's in a pool of sweat trying to figure this out. John in Edmonton writes in. He says, but I love seeing your lovely faces. I can't help you, John. I don't know. I just do the talking. They do the tech stuff. And by the way, our technical producer is home sick. We actually thought that he might have had the big one. Coronavirus. He had the test, which they say the test is worse than the disease.
I can't imagine.
They stick a Q-tip like to the back of your skull, apparently.
Oh, no.
Have you heard that?
No.
Yeah. Praying you never have to find that out. But our technical producer had the coronavirus, the COVID-19 test. He's negative, but he's still sick and he's home. He said he's never been so happy to just be sick.
Yeah, just
the regular sick. Points 4 and 5 are somewhat similar in that I was at a birthday party Friday night, Darren.
A birthday party?
Yeah. On Zoom.
Wow.
Weird.
Yeah.
But to the folks that hosted it, it was awesome. I got on it more so just to say that I was on it and see how this was going to go.
Right.
Greg and Laurel were the people that hosted it, and it didn't take long. I think there were 7 parties. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
On this, I've never been on a Zoom call before, ever, I don't think. And it was interesting. But of course, the topic got around to the future of the CFL. That's where points 4 and 5 will morph here, because I've got point 4, future of the CFL, point 5, mental gymnastics. Because there was a lot of, hey, Rod, what do you think? And I'll be frank, I'll say it now, which I didn't really say it on Friday night at the birthday party because I was caught off guard. I have spent 0 time thinking about what the CFL is going to do to come back, because that's not my job. And I get that they expected that I would have an opinion on this.
Yep.
But I don't, because there's a lot of guys with a lot of zeros behind their salary that will decide this, not me. Back to point 3. We're no further ahead. It's been a month, and these guys, how would they know? The disease experts don't know. So how the hell would Commissioner Randy Ambrosie know? He wouldn't know. So it became, hey, they could do pay-per-view. Hell, I'd shell out $100 to watch a pay-per-view game of the Rough Riders and the Argos. And I'm like, yeah, but how many in Toronto would? So I call it mental gymnastics, because it kind of exhausts you mentally to think about all the scenarios and all the ways they could get back, because at the end of the day, they don't give a rat's petunia what we say anyways. And one of the people on the call said, well, I really wish they would listen to the fans. Well, they don't, but that's what those town halls are for. So in some cases, they do. But a lot of times there's some jabroni that comes up to the mic that says, makes no sense whatsoever, and it makes everybody wonder, why the hell are we doing this?
Yeah.
So, again, I put 0 thought into how the CFL could restart. Now, if my livelihood and paycheck depended on it, I might put a little more time into it. I don't know, but it doesn't. But do you see what I'm saying? Whether there's going to be a CFL this year, whether there's going to be a Grey Cup, I don't know. I know this. There will be CFL again, but I haven't put thought into it. You?
No, not a lot. And just in terms of, okay, I mean, I was supposed to have a meeting today, about our tailgate party. That's not happening.
Right.
Things like that. Just canceling things off my calendar, making some different adjustments, but that's just business stuff. Not really thinking about it. It's just more, I'll react to it as it happens, as opposed to really putting the stock of my emotional well-being on whether there's a season or whether there's not a season. Not that I don't care about the CFL, but I'm not worried about if there's a season or not. It will come back when it comes back. And when it comes back, we'll be ready. We'll be covering it. We'll be there.
Yeah.
That's as far as I think about it.
Clark, I know you're in communication with Jordan, but can you put the comment up from Don in Ottawa, if you don't mind? Donald Mitchell, our friend watching from the nation's capital, and we'll get to that. Meanwhile, Brent Stephen writes in and says, Vernon Adams Jr. talked about being willing to play the first 2 months on the road. That's cool, too. I appreciate the VA wants to play. Everybody wants to play, but nobody has any idea. And that's back to point wherever the hell it was, or what was in my column this morning. The disease experts have no clue. And it just tells you, economists have no idea where the economy is going. The weather forecasters haven't. It's been supposed to be double digits for the last month around here. Last I checked, it was minus 19 on the weekend. So if anybody tells you they know what's going to happen in the future, they're full of it.
They don't know.
How did I go off on that rant? Donald in Ottawa says, guys, until the cities open up public facilities and public gatherings, there will be no sports, concerts, gathering. I know you're sports guys and will grasp at any glimmer of hope that your work will return ASAP, but this is people's lives, and if Dana White can't force the officials to change their minds, I doubt anyone can. Okay, so Don, love you. A lot of things wrong with what you just said. You'll grasp at any glimmer of hope that your work will return. I don't know. We're working. Are you working? I'm working.
We're good.
He's working. He's working over here. I mean, that's the one thing that people haven't really figured out yet, that we're a talk show.
Yeah.
And we're going to be here every day talking about what you guys are talking about, what people are talking about. Would we rather have games? Of course. But I know you're sports guys, and we'll grasp at any glimmer of hope that your work will return. And furthermore, Dana White can't force the officials to change their minds. I think ESPN shut down Dana White having UFC 249 because of the backlash, not because of the health concerns. I really believe that, because Dana White had it cleared and ready to go.
Yep, he did.
And I just think ESPN was afraid of the backlash from people. So at what point does that tipping point come where everybody wants to get back? It's not you're not being safe, because there's going to be a lot of businesses and business owners that are going to say, you know what, I'm going to lose my business anyway, so I'm just going to open my doors and risk a lawsuit because I'm going to lose my business no matter what. That's happening. Or at least guys are thinking about it.
Sure they are. You don't want to just let your boat sink without trying to shovel a little water out or trying to jump out and swim and do something. I mean, you got to find a way to survive, and some guys will do it. It's so interesting how we can do it safely, but eventually there's going to be a tipping point where the economy just says, you know what, we can't go any further down, and
it's got to be close.
It's going to be close. Yep.
I love what our social media advisor Tyler puts on the Facebook wall. The cesspool's heating up. Keep the comments coming, Rod Squad. That doesn't sound very delectable. The cesspool's heating up.
Bubbling to the surface.
Right, just think about that for a sec. Look, we'll break. I don't really want to because we're just rolling and viewership's peaking. Well, we got a couple minutes. So I just say this. I mean, I don't feel bad about it. I mean, people have expectations that I have opinions on everything. I do have opinions on a lot of things. I don't have an opinion on the future of the CFL or how they're going to come back. And pay-per-view, I would shell out the dough too. But I just leave the people whose job it is to do their jobs. Really.
The one thing I have for the NHL, if they're going to play in front of no fans, it's tough because you have to have the amenities. Right, you have to have the amenities. You have to have the facilities for them to, put out the bikes and have the training facilities and the locker room access and all that stuff. But I don't want to see them play in empty 18,000 seat arenas where it's hollow and just sounds like sounds really bad. I'd love to see them play on a nice rink, but in an old, intimate, tight barn that's super, super small and tight. I don't know if that's possible, but it'd be cool for the atmosphere if the NHL came back with no fans.
And that is my sixth and final point of the quick six show topics is no NHL to Saskatoon. The NHL just continues to be the hot girl to Saskatoon that just teases and dangles. They might dance a couple times.
Till you buy her a drink.
But they just can't get her between the sheets. John Ohm says, this isn't the casino and you just roll the dice. This is everyone's health. I get it. I'm just saying how long Does that remain the case?
Yeah.
Because people are going to get desperate. Some are already desperate. Jerry Hales writes in. She says, like, how in the hell did Vince XFL killer McMahon get WWE named essential? WWE has been named an essential service. Was it you, Clark, that brought that up? Florida. In Florida, the WWE has been named an essential service. That is not that shocking to me. Alcohol was named an essential service by provincial governments in this country. I get it. So we'll talk about that and more. As a matter of fact, that's a great segue for our next guest. What? The sports doctor? Because he likes to drink and he's a wrestling fan. Fair, Dave! Sports Doctor joins us next. It's the Rod Pedersen Show, Facebook Live, coming this spring to Game Plus Network, and listen live at rodpedersen.com.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of the Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.